Once upon a time, there was a little girl. She was a very well-behaved young lady, always following orders and never going against anything she was ever taught about the world. And why would she, if the world was very simple, very well constructed, and making absolute sense to her? The very well-behaved girl was living her very well-organized life in a very well-constructed world, until one day she met a very peculiar person. The peculiar person possessed a peculiar quality. They weren't a girl, but they weren't a boy either. The little girl had a great difficulty classifying the peculiar person according to her view of the very well-constructed world. She didn't really want to interact with this peculiar person and decided to distance herself from them as much as she could. The peculiar person, however, approached the little girl and said hi. They were really friendly and very, very talkative. They were asking many questions and seemed really interested in the little girl's answers. More interested than any stranger would usually be. The little girl hesitated at first, unfamiliar with the warmth she received, but slowly she engaged more and more in the conversation. Quite safe at first, the conversation then started slowly going into the unknown for the little girl. The peculiar person had quite a peculiar worldview. In their eyes, the world the little girl thought she knew very well wasn't simple at all. Moreover, they said the world wasn't well constructed at all either. The peculiar person didn't preach. They were very humble in the way they spoke to the little girl and didn't try to force anything on her. However, the little girl couldn't help her very well-thought vision of the world fall apart in her mind as the conversation went on. At the same time, the world painted itself all over again, more complicated and scary than it was before, but also more beautiful and free from the rules she was taught. That day, the little girl went back home changed. She went to bed with a feeling of restlessness, but when she woke up the next morning, the little girl felt some peculiar power inside her. Or maybe she wasn't even a little girl after all.